So when I first went to jail at 16, I was in Schenectady County Jail. And I ain't gonna lie, I was causing all types of mischief. Like, I was getting into fights, I was fighting COs and doing all types of nonsense. So I was on what's called keep lock, which basically you locked in your cell. You can't come out unless a shower or a rec. Like, I used to go to rec every day in the shower. Like, that was my only time to get out because I was causing all types of problems. So I got a bunch of my peoples on the tier, but there's this one dude on the tier named Pat, right? Pat is a bitch. Pat, if you ever see this, I want you to know you's a bitch ass hoe. I just want you to know this. So Pat is getting robbed for his commissary. They're taking his tray. Like he's getting bitched on the tier, right? So we're getting ready to go to rec. Now Pat's scared to go to rec. Pat's already getting bullied and everything on the tier. So the CO like, yo, Williams, you going to rec? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, open my cell. Like, fuck yeah, I'm going to rec, right? So they don't let me out my cell. So the CO walks past and ice grills me. So I'm like, yo, bro, the fuck is your bitch ass looking at? Like, I told you I want to go to rec too. So the CO comes in my cell. Like, he catch himself trying to be tough. So he come in my cell. So I'm not going to swing on him first because that's an assault charge. So I said, go ahead and swing. I said, go ahead and swing. I will fuck you up in this cell, you bitch, pussy, boom, 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 all types of shit. Motherfucker didn't want to fight. So he leaves my cell. So now everybody goes to rec. So Pat at the end of the tier says to the CO, he's like, no, I didn't see anything. I didn't see nothing, right? So it didn't really register in my brain at the time, like what the fuck is going on. So I'm like, man, fuck Pat. Like, Pat's a bitch anyway. They probably asking him who robbed his commissary this week or why he hasn't ate in 2 days, nothing but fucking vegetables and ketchup packets, because they taking his food and shit. I really ain't give a fuck. Pat's a bitch. So they tell me I got a ticket hearing, which for me is normal because I always got a fucking ticket. I get rolled up like every fucking day for smacking somebody or doing something. Every day I'm getting rolled up. So I'm like, all right. So they let me out my cell. And when I come out, it's weird because they don't handcuff me when I come out my cell. Now it's Red, but Red got two other COs with him, Temple and Bam Bam. Y'all both bitches too. I ain't forget this. Y'all pussy. So bring me out my cell. So they don't handcuff me, which I didn't really realize at first. I mean, I'm a kid. I'm like 16 years old, so I didn't really realize what the fuck is going on. So I'm like, why am I not handcuffed? So then I go to get to the elevator, and he goes to handcuff me. He puts one handcuff on me, right? Because you got to be handcuffed before you go to the ticket hearing. So I got one handcuff on, and he's like, oh, you think you tough. You just a little bitch. And he mushes me, right? Cracked him. Bing, bing, bing. Hit that motherfucker with like a three-piece, right? He ain't motherfucking know I got hands. So he fell back. The other CO tried to jump in. So the other CO tried to jump in. I weaved him. I hit his ass with an uppercut. That motherfucker go fall back too. This big motherfucking fat motherfucker Bam Bam come in. I hit Bam Bam. Bing, bing. So now I'm fighting three COs. I swear to you, that shit was like being in the Matrix. Like, motherfuckers is throwing punches at me and shit like that. And I'm just weaving it. I'm just dodging it, weaving it, just dodging it, weaving it. Like, that shit wasn't doing nothing. So I'm like, man, you motherfuckers are some hoes, right? So I'm beating the shit out of all three of them. One of them, Red, his bitch ass is like scared to even come into the fight. Like, he's over by the wall. I'm fucking Temple and Bam Bam up. Mind you, I'm like 16 years old. I'm probably 130 pounds. This dude, Bam Bam's like 300 pounds. Temple's a grown-ass man. Red's a grown-ass man. Like, I'm a 16-year-old kid, and I'm beating the shit out of all three of them. It got so bad that one of them pulled the pin. Now, when you pull it, there's like this little pin on the walkie-talkie. When you pull it, it calls for backup. There's three of y'all. And y'all try to jump me. Like, what are you calling backup for? Like, now you need help? So I got one of the motherfuckers in a headlock and I'm hitting him. And when the other one coming in, I'm hitting him too. So they can't get in on me because I'm just punching him when I feel like it and I'm holding him. He ain't going nowhere. And I'm punching the other COs. These grown-ass men can't even beat a 16-year-old. So I heard the ding on the elevator and like 20 COs came off that bitch, right? So I'll never forget this little tiny bitch, this little tiny white girl. I cannot remember her fucking name. This little tiny white girl comes flying at me. And I caught the bitch in the fucking air, right? With one hand. She's flying at me. I catch the bitch with one hand, but I was light at the time. So she like fell on top of me. So when she fell on top of me, the other CO, one of the COs, sprayed me in my face with some mace. And this shit burned like a motherfucker, but it didn't stop me. Like, I was still trying to fight, but now there's no winning. There's like 30 fucking COs there, right? So they bring me, they put me in a box and shit. So the next day, I go to shower and shit. They let you out for a shower. I think it was like every 2 days a day. It wasn't even every day. And you get nothing in the box. At that time, it was literally cruel and unusual punishment. Like, you couldn't even get books in a box. Like, they wouldn't even give you letters and paper. They wouldn't give you nothing. Like, they would give you papers and a pen and envelopes only for like an hour while you're writing a letter, and then they'll take that shit back. Like, you can't have anything in your cell, like nothing. You don't get books, you don't get anything. You just in there staring at the wall. Shit was straight up cruel and unusual punishment. That's why we was torturing every CO and shit that came through there. So the sheriff comes in, and the sheriff was calling me Little Tiger. And he's like, this little tiger motherfucker was beating up 3 of my COs. This little tiny motherfucker here, like I told you, like probably like a $130, maybe a $140 at the most. I wasn't tall, I was like 5'7". So he's like, man, how? He's like, how was my COs losing to this motherfucker? But I was beating a motherfucking ass. And to this day, y'all still some bitches. Like, you could have beat me when I'm 16. Now, beat the shit out y'all and y'all families. Like, y'all some hoes. Some straight hoes. Y'all try to jump me and got y'all asses beaten and called for backup. So, yeah, there's no situation in life that you're ever going to get into that you don't have an opportunity to win. And a lot of times, just because you think that you are in a situation that you can't recover from, there's shit in your body that you don't know about, adrenaline, etc. And that shit's gonna take over and you gonna go crazy. And I felt that adrenaline. I was like Neo in the Matrix. Dodging, I seen the punches coming and I was just weaving them. Bing, bing, every single fucking time I was weaving them bitches. So that adrenaline shit is real. And every time I ever got in a fight, and I've never lost a fight, every time I've gotten a fight, I felt that slow motion, that slow adrenaline movement. And that shit is dope. But yeah, them COs, Temple, Red, Bam Bam, Pat too, who was a bitch ass inmate, all 4 of y'all could suck a dick.